Just about to start with the presentation of the Master in Fashion Creation Accessories Design, and I now leave the floor to Francesca Pallario.
Thank you so much, Federica. So thank you to all of you for being here. It's a pleasure for me to be here also together with Susanna. And I will be available for any questions you may have at the end of the presentation. And now I leave the floor to Susanna in order to start the presentation of the Master in Fashion Creation Accessory Design. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Thank you as well to Federica for your introduction. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. First of all, I would also like to thank POLI.design, Milano Fashion Institute, and the Doc City team for this great initiative. And of course, I would also like to thank, above all of you for joining us today and for your time. And I hope you will be interested and enjoy this presentation. So I'm Susanna Testa. I'm the coordinator and the tutor of the master course in fashion creation dedicated to accessory design, which is a master developed in collaboration between POLI.design, that is the consortium company founded by Politecnico di Milano, and Milano Fashion Institute, which is an inter-university consortium represented by Politecnico di Milano, Università Bocconi, and Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore. So I would like to start our conversation with a pretty bold statement. So today, accessories define fashion. So if you look at the incomes of the most important fashion brands, these are coming from accessories. How can we say that? So here you can see some data, okay, thanks a lot, provided by Statista related to this year's value share of the personal luxury goods market in 2020. And as you can see, them are divided by product category. So as you can see, the 57% of the total is actually occupied by accessories. Again, if we look instead to the revenue share, for example, of the Kering Group worldwide in 2020, still divided by product category, we see that the 78% of the total is actually occupied by accessories, so such as, for example, leather goods, shoes, watches, and jewelry. Again, if we dig more into details, and we, for example, explore the revenue share of Gucci, okay, so getting a little bit more and breaking down more, still related to 2020, we see again that the majority is represented by accessories for a total of 78%. So I reported also the link so that you can have, in case you might be curious and have fun exploring, you can copy and paste it, let's say, and explore it a little bit more. So accessories are symbols of class, of identity, and they, in a way, perpetuate the artisan expertise of Made in Italy through times, let's say. So hats, glasses, jewelry, bags, and shoes are some of the fundamental elements in the process of creating a fashion brand, and they are essential in defining its identity and value. So accessories not only intersect with the high-tech performance materials, but go as far as the dimension of virtual to lose materiality today. So for all these reasons, fashion brands have been giving increasing importance to accessories in a sort of its multiple interpretations, requiring really dedicated professionals. So this is what we actually do at the Master in Fashion Creation in Accessory Design that is directed by Professor Alba Cappellieri. And proudly, we are now reaching our 9th edition. So it's now been almost 10 years that we are going on with this course, and we are really, really happy and proud of it. Goals. So what do we do here? So here we say that we join hands and mind, experimentation and tradition, technology and craftsmanship, but also prototyping and manufacturing in a way to create everyday wearable beauty. So we actually aim to provide our students with the methodological tools as well as the design skills to become accessory designers. Really with specific application, professional application, ranging from research and ideation to product development, combining craftsmanship with technology. So our students learn a method. But let's explore what are the professional outcomes for our students. So different sectors, sectors that our students tend to enter after a master program include, let's say, 3 main macro areas that are the creation of fashion accessories, the production of fashion accessories, and the communication of fashion accessories. For example, so when we talk about the creation of fashion accessories, we deal with, for example, roles such as fashion designers, textile and material researcher, everything that is related to the style department, so technicians, also style department assistant, or for example, CAD fashion designer. Regarding the section related to production of fashion accessories, we have, for example, professional figures such as the product developer, technical developer, we have the pattern maker, of course, the pattern developer, the model maker, the production technician, as well as the quality controller. Then third, so we spoke as well about the communication area, so the communication of fashion accessories, and we refer to professional figures such as fashion graphic designer, as well as the fashion photographer assistant. So this is a sort of an overview of the different professional outcomes we have. Of course, it is not limited, but it gives a sort of a complete overview to the main professional figures, the main sectors that our students will be addressing. But how is our master structured? So the master is structured in different thematic areas. So we have a first part that is dedicated to theoretical lessons. We have one then that is dedicated to technical lessons and tools, another one dedicated to project workshops held in collaboration with designers and international professionals, a phase dedicated to the curricular internship, and lastly, the final exam. So, as I said already, it provides a 360-degree overview on the world of accessories. And here we also have some dates. We will have the foundation courses starting that are optional, that will start at the end of November, in particular the 29th of 2021, ending the 23rd of January 2022, while the actual activities with actual CFU will start on January 23rd, 2022, and will end on January 31st, 2023. So a year in total. Teaching in this period, as you know, we are still passing by sort of turbulence moments. So the teaching will be conducted in a blended mode for now, alternating in presence of face-to-face teaching and live streaming. And as previously done during the past 2 years, the teaching will be switched to full distance learning in the case regulation by the competent authorities will require it. So hopefully not, hopefully we'll be able to do everything in presence. This is our main goal and it's what we actually would prefer, but of course we are also now being prepared, since we've been doing this for the last 2 years, to switch to a digital mode. In details, here you can see this sort of scheme. Activities are divided into introductory courses, then we have the pillars and specialized courses, then we have the fashion workshops, and lastly, as you can see here, you have the company visits and study tours. So let's get again a little bit more into details, and we have the first part that I mentioned, that is the tools and warm-up. That will be this like preliminary phase dedicated to the formation of the basic instruments and to acquire the basic lexicon. So activities are conceived to allow the students to actually close in the gaps regarding subjects that Veronica, I think you have your mic on. Veronica?
Sorry, Veronica, could you please switch off your microphone? Okay, great, thank you.
So I was saying that the activities are conceived to allow the students to close in the gaps regarding the subjects that are missing from the original background. Of course, during the evaluation phase of your application, we will also require some basic knowledge, but anyway, we will also have this phase just to make sure that everyone is on the same page regarding the actual tools. And as I said, these are preparatory activities in view of the design workshops. So an example of these, let's say, tools and warm-up courses and activities is fashion design modeling. So fashion design modeling is dedicated to teaching the 3D modeling and rendering tools, and it is addressed to actually close in the gaps, it's the next slide, of 3D design software's knowledge in the field of fashion accessories. Or again, fashion design, graphics and representation, that is aimed instead to strengthen the skills for students to develop and effectively tell their ideas and projects through visual representations, through visual languages. And in particular, the lessons will be dedicated to the use of graphic softwares such as Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, and Adobe InDesign. Or again, lessons in photography and video making to actually help our students in identifying effective ways to communicate their own projects. Then we have the section dedicated to fashion pillars. So fashion pillars consist in in-class introductory lessons to the fashion sector. So from its historical evolution to the design research methodologies and trend research, from methodologies of management to insight into production techniques, traditional and innovative materials. And this will be done through theoretical seminars, lectures, and exercises. Then we have the fashion workshops. Fashion workshops, as you can see also from the number of hours dedicated to this very phase, is the actual heart of the master. It consists in a field experimentation through short, sequential, hands-on experiences dedicated to different product categories. So head design, eyewear design, watch design, jewelry design, handbag design, leather goods design, luggage design, and shoe design. So the workshops involve the development of projects by student from the briefing phase to research, from the conception to design up the final presentation. The workshop Each workshop will last 5 days, okay, which is very intense. But of course, it will be carried out under the supervision of industry professionals that will, of course, help you and guide you step by step. So in each workshop, students will be really individually guided by a professional teacher of the sector in the development of personal projects through the different phases. So launch of the brief, that can be also provided by an actual company, or it can also be decided by the professor himself or herself. Research, so the research phase, ideation, concept, sketching, so concept development. Then we have the design phase, prototyping phase, that can be an actual prototype or it can be a digital prototype as well, and then a final presentation. Everything done in 5 days, so each workshop will be really, really intense. But of course, at the beginning will be tough, but everyone at the end of the day is going to be really strengthened up and happy about all the achievement done. So getting into details, we have, first of all, head design. Head design would be the workshop dedicated to the world of millinery, going beyond really the ordinary idea of a hat. And our students are guided on a creative path with an actual practical approach to the project. Students use the shape of the hat, the actual mannequin, as a sort of a blank canvas on which to build on, combining both traditional techniques with unconventional procedure. Then we have eyewear design. Eyewear design provides our students with skills and tools for the development of projects, of course, in the field of eyewear, through a presentation of the different features, characteristics of the sector, the technical specificities of the product, with a focus on materials and technologies, structure and details, and of course, ergonomic as well. Then we have watch design. So watch design firstly provides an overview on the world of watches, so the different typologies, the various components, and also the different functions. And then you will be guided in the design of a collection of watches made up both of color variants, color variations, as well as functional ones. And you will be developing manual 2D as well as 3D renderings to create and to communicate your project. Jewelry design. So the jewelry design workshop aims to make the students understand really the complexity of the project in its various components. So during, for example, the last edition, so the one coming from not the current one, but the previous one, we have a workshop in collaboration with the company Fratelli Piccini. And the project where the different projects of our students were presented within the scope of a context, and here you can see the students presenting their projects to the jury we had. While this year, the course addressed instead the challenge of designing a jewelry piece that had to be both physical as well as virtual, taking into consideration the two occasions of use. Then we have the workshop dedicated to handbag design that, of course, will address the development of a handbag. So through design experimentations and theoretical lessons, you will construct a handbag and also using different types of materials. And this year, students worked, for example, on a brief dedicated to gender fluidity. Then we have the workshop of leather goods design that tackles the world of leather goods, of course. So from the traditional leather good items to more extravagant small leather goods, and it covers, as we said also before, the research phase, the ideation one, a phase dedicated to sketching that can be hand sketching or computer sketching, digital representation, mood boards definition, and also the development of physical study prototypes. The workshop of luggage design is dedicated to the world of suitcases and really more in general to traveling items, taking into consideration both aesthetics as well as functionality. It addresses the development of innovative projects and smart solutions dedicated to the world of journey, let's say. Then we have, lastly, shoe design. Shoe design, of course, is dedicated to footwear, to the world of footwear, considering sustainability and innovative materials. It covers materials and different models of footwear. And this edition, students work on the fixtures redesign of the Vara shoe, that is the iconic shoe by Salvatore Ferragamo. Then going back to our scheme in which our master is divided, we have the phase dedicated to curiosity. And this section includes events and company visits, visits to exhibition, meetings with the pioneers of the sectors, seminars, insights into the main Italian fashion brands. And then we have the part dedicated to the fashion practices. This is a phase dedicated to in-class activities aimed to apply in a practical way the fashion skills learned in a business context and really in real case studies. This section consists of a phase dedicated to presentation and portfolio development, the curricular internship, and also the development of a final thesis project. Related to the internship will be a curricular internship that needs to be 480 hours long. Okay, so the internship really aims at applying the skills acquired in the classroom in a real world scenario and really wants to prepare the students for their entry into the professional world. So internships take place with qualified partner companies and, as I said, have a duration of 480 hours, that is approximately 3 months long. Who is this master addressed to? So our master is addressed to juniors with a great will of learning, curious, with a solid knowledge of course, English language. And this is for us really important because it's a very much an international environment. So for us, really, the actual interaction and the actual bond among our students is fundamental. We really believe in the power of connections, and the multidisciplinary and international background of our master is one of our greatest pride. So really for us, this is really fundamental. So here we have just some alumni of ours that are now successfully working in the field. So are coming from the different editions. You can, of course, this is a project we started last year contacting our alumni. We are trying to build up a network to really gather all our students among together, really to strengthen this connection, also related to like job purposes. And so we are starting this project, and we are really happy of it, and we will carry on with it. Okay, so here our question now is, what do we have to do if we are willing to take part in the selection of 2021? Francesca, what do we need to do?
Okay, so thank you so much, Susanna, for the very clear presentation of the master. So I just want to add something regarding the internship, if I can. So the internship, as Susanna said, is a curricular internship, so is included inside the master. It can last minimum 3 months up to maximum 6 months inside one of our company partner, both Milano Fashion Institute and of course POLI.design. And it's really important to do the internship in order to get the final diploma. And so this is the reason why for us it's really important to also offer to the students the empowerment course, which is related to the fashion career, how to write your resume, and so on. So in order to send your application form filled, you should add your curriculum vitae, motivation letter, portfolio, of course, as Susanna said before, copy of a bachelor degree, copy of the transcript of your grades, and the copy of your passport or a document identity card. So as Elisa said before through chat, I think the master is open to applicants who have a university degree. So it's really important to already have a laurea equivalent to a Bachelor of Science and or a laurea magistrale. Or of course also if you already have a master as one of you wrote inside the chat. The economic value of the master is equal to 16,000 euros, payable in 4 installments during the year. The application is absolutely free. So I don't know if Elisa would like to add something regarding the admission requirements.
Yes, mainly you said almost everything, but mainly yes, just to explain maybe a little bit more, the selection process is on 2 levels. So mainly the board will analyze the documents that Francesca was mentioning before, that is the CV and the portfolio and motivation letter, whereas of course there will be an evaluation from the official point of view by Politecnico di Milano. That's why we ask also the scanning of the university degree and of the university transcript. So after having submitted the documents through the link that you may find on the web page of the master, a single interview will be fixed with a member of the board. As a general rule, it's Professor Testa, but mainly with one of the board members, and then you will be provided the final, let's say, feedback based both on the interview and evaluation by the board and on the evaluation by Politecnico di Milano of the official requirement. So you will receive a feedback by email about your eligibility, and then, as Francesca was saying, you will have also all the details to process the enrollment in case of a positive evaluation.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Isa, for the additional information. The evaluation, of course, the additional evaluation by Politecnico Milan is absolutely fundamental because at the end of the master you will get the diploma recognized by the Italian Ministry of Education. So it means that at the end of the master you will obtain 60 ACTS university credits. So I don't know if we can start maybe with the Q&A or not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can definitely start. And I'm here, you can see the Instagram account, so you can actually follow or the all the news about this incredible course. So during the presentation, Susanna was mentioning about internship. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about where this internship can be held, and if, for example, is something that the university is helping the students, or is actually the student itself finding one.
Okay, so what happens at the end of, let's say, the workshop phase? So once you have really also developed the projects, developing a final portfolio with all the selection of the projects you are also more proud of, because it also might happen that you will discover that you'll start a master with idea. So maybe you're like, yes, I want to do this master because I'm really interested in, let's say, leather goods. Then you do the master and you discover like a great passion about, let's say, jewelry, okay? Because, I mean, of course it's possible, and actually it happens most of the times. So what we do is that at the end of this path at school, what we do is that we actually organize informal also interviews with students, and we really try to understand what their desires, what are their inclinations in a way. So maybe some people are like more good, like better at hand sketching, some other ones are like better at 3D modeling. So also matching their desires with and their competences with the requests of the companies, we try to do the matching. What happens? It happens that students, so we'll have an interview with us with the directions, and then we will send out their portfolios to our networks, to the companies of our network. And what happens is that then the companies, according to their requirements, to their necessities as well, they come back to us and they will find the most suitable candidate. Of course, it is up to us as well as up to students, in the sense that the better, the more performative the student is, the easier for him, her will be to be hired, and will be hired also for the internship, as well as the possibility to be hired in the same company, who knows, afterwards. No? So it is not I mean, it's not given that the companies will hire also the student after the internship, but it also happens often. So this is also what we hope, and we try to foster as much as possible. So I don't know if Elisa and Francesca want to add something related to the internship.
Thank you, Susanna. For me, it's important to underline the fact that we are talking about curricular internship. So it means that it's included inside the master. So at the end of the master, you will have all the knowledge fundamental for doing your internship. So this is the reason why the internship is at the very end of the master.
Thank you. We actually received another question from Mira. So she's asking if the fashion workshop are only about hands-on experience, or there are also theoretical courses along each of the workshop that the professor Testa introduced us.
So the workshop phase is dedicated to hands-on experience, but it doesn't mean like a professor won't give theoretical pills. So usually what happens is that most of the times students don't know anything about the sector specifically, no? So maybe they have an idea about the world of, I don't know, shoe design, but they don't know really much about how it actually works. So what happens is that at the beginning of the workshop, the professor in charge of the workshop will give a theoretical overview of, will present the sector, and giving also some tips, like they can be like theoretical tips, okay? They can be also tips dedicated to, for example, how to represent, let's say, we are talking about eyewear design. usually in the style office, they represent eyewear in a specific way. So what they actually do is that they teach students how to represent the eyewear with, for example, Illustrator explaining some tips that they actually put into practice at work, no? So that's also interesting. So, and that's the same thing, for example, for handbag design or for jewelry design. So each and every sector has its own also representation code and so on. So of course it won't be so much into details because it's 5 days long, and the actual challenge is really the creative challenge. But of course, for you, in order to develop the project, you will be given some tools, some theoretical tips to be able to face it.
Perfect. Talking about those skills that you just mentioned, for example, will you also give some sort of insight about the material? Some, for example, thinking about shoe, leather, and eyewear.
Yeah, no, for sure there is a part at the beginning, so in the theoretical pillars that will be dedicated to materials, both traditional as well as innovative. But once you will be doing the workshop, of course, you will have a little bit more specific insights, but also dedicated to the design challenge. Okay, so the tips, the information you will be receiving in that phase will be more oriented to guide student to develop the project. Okay.
Perfect. And before, during the presentation, you were talking about a special project about jewelry, talking about a real project as well as a virtual one. Can you just tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, so students in this project, it was a little bit experimental. So as again I said, was like 5 days long. So at the beginning, students had to work in groups. Usually all our projects are individual. So the final result, the final project developed and let's say presented on the last day will be individual. But they had to work in group for the first part to research, to make a sort of research related to, let's say, the combination about, let's say, facial traits, colors, together with the most specific category of jewelry items, colors, and stones. So to create matches in order to be to find, let's say, the most suitable jewelry piece for their own. Then once they developed this, they had to design a piece of jewelry for themselves, okay, that had to match their hair, eyes, like face shape, and so on. And what they had to do is to think about the possibility of developing these items in a physical world, so with actual materials, as well as creating an Instagram filter. So the idea was really to also think about the jewelry item, something that has to be precious in a way, but considering the occasion of use that is not anymore the actual physical one in the real world, but really considering the stage, the digital stage. So that was really the challenge of the workshop. So can a jewelry be precious even if it's not physical? That was also an idea, no? One of the challenges of the workshop we developed this year.
Thank you. So from my understanding, this is very much a hands-on course, which I believe is probably also leading the students that graduate to be ready for the words for, you know, like getting a job. So before you showed us some sort of alumni, so maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what sort of professions the students that graduate from this master course end up doing.
So really, like very many of them work as creative. So they work as designers in the industry. Really, it's really diverse, because really also what happens is that most of the time, even at the end of the master, no, so you start working, maybe you do an internship, you understand, and maybe like, so because it also happens that maybe like you finish the course, you need to do the curricular internship. Maybe students, okay, have a couple of options, and they end up maybe in a field that was not like maybe the very, very first choice. But what we also tell students is to really to try, because sometimes you try to do something you don't know and you really, really end up enjoying it. So that happens really like, or opposite. So maybe you think that you are in love with the field, then you try, and then you're like, I'm not sure. So this internship, like, their idea is really also to test and to see in a protected environment somehow, no? So what they actually do is that they start as assistant. So also another thing that we tell students is at the beginning, we all need to be patient. So they still need to learn. So as I said, the curricular internship are really a moment of learning. And this is really fundamental to be understood, because really, like, we teach a lot, we teach what we can at school, but then there's like, people are still in a way blank canvas, so they need to learn the actual work once they go out, no? So that's why we have this curricular internship to be developed and to be done. So they start as assistants, so they assist both in create our as I said, our stage, our internship needs to be dedicated, of course, to accessory, but maybe some of them are more related to product, so to product development. And actually what happens is that it also happens that really maybe they start with the idea of doing something that is more related to the style, so to designing, to the actual, let's say, ideation phase. But it happens that we have, I think, a good 50% of students that also enjoy, at the end of the day, do more like the product development, because it's also very satisfying to be able to solve the issue of the production, so to see a project coming to life, no? Which is usually something that in the ideation department, maybe you have the idea, you start, you sketch and so on, but you don't have really the power of actually physically being able to make it alive, no? So it is also another interesting phase. A lot of students work in the field of graphics as well, so graphic dedicated to fashion, to accessories. That can be both communication, but as well to print design also, so to work for printing dedicated to accessories and creating pattern and textiles, for example. Then also a lot of people, like we have a lot of students also very, very skilled in 3D design. So what happens is that this is something that is super highly required. And so we have really students that are now working as even head offices of the 3D department, because it's something that is really very well developed at Politecnico and at POLI.design and Milano Fashion Institute, but maybe not from the other academies that are instead more crafted oriented, no? So this is also something that is really valuable. But we see that our students are really good problem solvers, and this is really good because, like, you can happen to do anything, but at the end of the day, like, we are all here, like designers are here, like I'm a designer as well, to solve issues, no matter where, no matter what. So being able to have constraints, so you have constraints given by the company, limits, okay? And you have to solve them in the smartest way possible. So this is what we challenge our students to do during the course. And that's like the greatest learning, I would say. And that's about it. So I think that also one of the greatest possibilities about this master is that really okay, maybe students have the idea that like the world of accessory, but they don't know where, they don't know what, and this is a good way to start understanding maybe what is the specific sector, what they actually like to do, because maybe they understand that they hate sketching, okay, and that's also okay, or maybe they understand that they love the research part, okay, that's also important. So that, and also what they do is that they actually are able to build up a significant portfolio, because the workshops are 10 approximately. So of course you have 10 projects developed from scratch, very diverse and individual, personal. So this is also something that is important, no?
Yes, so thank you. I really like to thank Susanna, Francesca, and Elisa for staying with us and for answering to all of your questions.